So, guys, welcome to this Capstone project prep-1 part-3 session. So, in this session, we'll be discussing regarding what questions will be there regarding this prep-1 thing, and we'll discuss about those questions and how we need to attempt those questions in the moment. We'll be discussing in this particular things. Okay, let us start. So I think before 2 days we might have seen regarding this similar case study. So the same case study is for all the three parts, guys. Okay. So we just divided the prep into three parts. So we have taken a similar case study. So based on that similar case study, we're gonna look into the questions regarding the prep part 3. Okay. So I think the similar case study is regarding this fashion store, and they want to open an online fashion store where the people are involved in order to develop this particular application where there is a budget and a time frame, and every such things will be there in this case study. So which is similar to your online agriculture support store, right? So based on this, try to frame your questions from your end. Okay. So guys, in this prep 1 part 3, the first question is about functional requirements. So what is a functional requirement? So the functional requirement defines the specific behaviors, functions, or operations of a system. They describe what the system should do, outlining the necessary tasks, actions, or activity it must perform to achieve its objective. Suppose if I have to differentiate regarding the what is a business requirement and what is a functional requirement. A business requirement will tell about, the requirements from a user perspective. These are the high level requirements. Whereas these function requirement mainly focus on how we need to achieve these business requirements, and these function requirements mainly focus on the functionalities within the system. Suppose, let me give you an example. There is a login feature which is a business requirement. They just client just ask for they need a login feature. So coming to the function requirement, how it needs to be there. So within this function, how this login feature needs to be implemented, what conditions that we need to give the login in the system so that the customers can log in into the application. Likewise, we'll talk about it. The functional requirements are nothing but we define a requirement from the system perspective. We talk about mainly the functionalities of a system. So what needs to be done in order to log in? What specific conditions are there? Suppose if you look into the login features, so we'll be having certain criteria, right? So for login, you need to give 8 length character password. Okay, special symbols would be there. One capital letter needs to be there. So in order to have that login into a system, what conditions we need to keep within the system? That is nothing but your functional requirement. Okay. So you need to write 20 functional requirements regarding in a particular document. Okay. So the format would be like this. So you need to keep requirement ID, the requirement name, and the requirement description. This is how you can write about the functional requirement. So, in this functional requirement question itself, we will be writing about the non-functional requirements also. Okay. Uh, you need to write in total 20 requirements. So, 10 should be functional and 10 should be non-functional requirements. So, what is a non-functional requirement? So, the non-functional requirement will describe all the qualities, attributes of a system, focusing on how the system performs rather than the specific behaviors or functions. And the same format, requirement ID, requirement and name, and the requirement description. So if you observe over here, the difference between the functional and the non-functional requirement is that, so it mainly talks about the qualities and the attributes, which means like, usability, performance, security, compatibility, and response time. So if we look into this example here, the usability in a sense means the application should have a intuitive and should have an intuitive and user friendly. Okay. So the application must load pages within 3 seconds. How fast an application should load, or how much speed it should process the data. It describes more about the qualities and attributes. Okay, and the application so regarding security, the application must ensure secure user authentication and compatibility. Application should be compatible with three major web browsers. And response time. The application should respond to user inputs within 2 seconds. So this is how you need to write regarding what functional and non-functional requirements. And you need to write 20. 10 should be functional and 10 should be non-functional. So this is about your functional requirements question. Okay. Next question is about you need to prepare 5 wireframes. Before discussing this, let me discuss the question number 3. Okay. So the next question is about, you need to describe, like, write 50 words on the tools you are aware of in this project. So for modeling your requirements, you will be considering 3 tools, guys. Microsoft Visio, Valsamic, and Azure. So what is Microsoft Visio? So Microsoft Visio is a diagramming and vector graphics application used to create diagrams, flowcharts, and other visual representation of complex information. So we mainly use this MS Visio for drawing your UML diagrams. Suppose we might have gone through questions regarding the like use case diagram and activity diagram in your prep-1 part, right? So those two diagrams, such type of UML diagrams, can be drawn through this Microsoft Visio. Okay. And coming to Balsamiq. So Balsamiq is a rapid wireframe input used to create mockups, prototypes of user analysis. Through this Balsamiq tool, you can create the mockup. So what is a mockup? So mockup is nothing but how your website looks like. So we can design those with the help of this Balsamiq tool. Okay, these are more static in nature. Okay. And coming to is Azure. So what is an Azure? Azure is a more advanced prototyping tool used to create high fidelity interactive wireframes and prototypes for the web and mobile applications. So Azure is also a prototyping tool. Okay. So what is the difference between wireframe and prototype is that? So prototype also will help a user in order to, will help in a project in order to create a high fidelity web pages. So how your website actually looks like we can create with the Azure. So what is the difference between these mockups and the prototypes is that? So mockups are static and prototype is dynamic. So more interactive web pages you can create that are nothing but your prototypes. So if you give some data and click on some button, it will allow the user to navigate to some other page. Those are nothing but your prototypes. So these 3 tools will be used in a project for modeling your requirements. So for visual representation of your requirements and all, we do use these 3 tools, guys. So using these 3 tools, we'll be creating UML diagrams, mockups, and prototypes. So this is about these 3 tools. So by using these 3 tools, by using your Azure or Balsamiq, you need to create 5 wireframes. So which means you need to prepare 5 page designs, guys. So with respect to your online agriculture product store, so what pages can we have regarding this online agriculture product store? You need to draw 5 page designs. Let me give you an example. For this online fashion application, what type of pages I can create? So login page I can create that where I can have user ID and password. Then I can create a registration page. For login, we need to create registration also. We can have a product viewing page. The products can be displayed in a home page or a product viewing page. Then making a payment page or order tracking page. Likewise, I just give you an example. Likewise, whatever the pages you can have in this particular online agriculture product store, you can look into it and you can create a five wireframes or the 5 page designs. You can either use Balsamiq or Azure for creating this 5 page designs, guys. Okay. So the next question is regarding an RTM. So what is an RTM? RTM stands for the Requirements Traceability Matrix. So it is a document to track the requirements throughout the project's life cycle, ensuring that they are met and no requirements are overlooked. So whatever the requirements you have gathered in order to develop your project, all those requirements, you would keep it in an RTM. Okay. So in this RTM, the purpose of this RTM is to track the requirements actually, where the requirement is happening, in which stage it is. So here, this is the format, one such format for creating an RTM test. Okay. So here we have like requirement ID. So what is the requirements? We have gathered the requirement name and there is description regarding that particular requirement. And each of these stages we have. So in each of the stages, what is the status of the requirement you can see? Complete or incomplete or what in progress. So we actually use this RTM document in order to track where our requirement is actually standing, if it is in complete stage or incomplete or work in progress in each stages. You can see the design code, unit testing, component testing, system integration testing, and the user acceptance testing. So what in all these stages, what is the status of your requirement? You can track it in this RTM basis. So you need to keep like functional requirements and non-functional requirements which you have gathered in your project regarding online agriculture products too. That you need to keep it under your RTM. Minimum 20 requirements, you keep it in this RTM. Okay. So next is the test case documents, guys. So what is a test case document? So a test case document is a detailed outline but used by the testers to ensure that the software application or system is working as expected. So whatever the features you have developed, at the end you need to test it, guys. So you might be knowing. So before releasing our product or something into the market or anything, we would be testing it, right? So the same thing. So for the testing purpose, we are having a test case document. So this test case document consists of the following details. Okay, like test case ID. What is the project ID? The project manager ID, test strategy ID, test plan ID, and the test schedule ID, and scenario. Scenario we have given here for search for product. And scenario like, regarding the applications, what features you have developed, that you can give it for the scenario over here. Suppose logging into the application, registration, register into the application. Likewise, you need to give such scenarios. Okay. Then, if linked to that particular page, the test case name, the project name, and the project manager name, tester ID, tester name, the date of test. And here we have the input data. So for this search for product, what type of input data we are giving? Because we are searching, right? So here searching for the product means you need to give some data and check whether whatever the data you are giving, you are getting the expected behavior. So your what actual behavior you're getting, and this actual behavior is meeting with your expected behavior. So that is the purpose of test case document. We are testing the features which you have developed for this particular application. So we'll be taking some input data. So we have taken here 5 sets of input data. So while writing on your end, you need to keep at least one. Okay, if possible, keep 5 input data or else keep at least one input data. Okay, in input data we have given that. So we are searching for skirt for 2-year-old kid, which is pink color, which is a cotton fabric, and having some floral prints. Likewise, we have given here some 5 sets. So regarding search for product, we are taking these 5 inputs data. So we are expected that it should give 15 designs. Suppose once you have tested this feature, so you need to make assumptions and give your answer over here, guys. So while writing up, fill some dummy data over here in this particular columns. At least give one input data. Your expected behavior, make your assumptions and give not an issue. And look if it whatever the features you have testing or actual behavior you're getting on it. Sometimes it might happen. You won't get 15 page designs, you can get 10 page designs. So you can give that also. So you can then result pass or fail. Okay. Likewise, you need to prepare 10 test case documents. Suppose you have get once you have search for this particular input, then if you got 15 page designs. So actual behavior also 15 page designs means you can give result as false. If you haven't get as per the input data, as per the expected behavior and all, you can give result as fail. So you need to give this data as per your assumptions. Okay. Then the sixth question is regarding, the trolley DB design and entity relationship diagram. So what is a DB scheme? So DB schema is a blueprint that outlines the structure of a database, including its tables, fields, relationships, constants, and other characteristics. And then, so suppose, let me give you an example. This DB schema shows how the data is stored in the form of tables within a database and how these tables are connected with each other when you perform certain instruction or some operation. Suppose we are searching for a product. So while you're searching for a product, so the product category will input to the product inventory. and discount and order details. So when it performs such particular operations, how these tables are connected, how well the data is stored in the form of tables, and how these tables are connected is nothing but your TV schema. This is how you can prepare. You can make use of MS Visio and create this TV schema design. Okay, this is how you need to put your data. Like, you can take user table, you can take shopping table, cart table. Okay, you can make user payment. So once a user make a payment, then user payment is connected. If user is searching for some adding a product to the cart, then this will be connected to the cart, right? So when they're making some payment, then they will be connected to the payment. Okay, so based upon the instructions, these tables would be connected, and once they're connected, they will give you the data. This is all about the DB scheme. Okay, then entity relationship diagram. So entity relationship diagram is a visual representation of relationship between entities in a database. It depicts the entities such as tables, attributes, properties of it, and the relationship between. So what is an entity relationship between that? Let me give you a clarity. So whatever the table name over here is, right, it is nothing but your entity. And whatever the things which are there, right, which would define that particular thing. Suppose there is a user. So what would define an user? Username, password. So which would define that particular thing as nothing but your attributes. Entity is something like, living thing or a non-living thing or an object. So user is an entity and the this whichever defining. So whichever defining user, nothing but your username, password, first name, last name, telephone number, and all. So let me give you another example. How would you identify a student? Student have some name. Student have some a number, unique roll number. So he is having some email and all, right? So what would define the particular entity is nothing but your attributes. It shows the relationship between how entities and attributes are linked with each other. That is nothing but your entity relationship diagram. So this is about the two diagrams, guys. Okay. So raw DB design and the ER diagram. Okay, for this particular 6th division. You can make use of MS Visio for drawings. And next is draw a data flow diagram. So a data flow diagram is a graphical representation of flow of data within a system. It will visually shows how a data moves from one process to another and how it is stored and where it ends up. Okay, so it is mainly helpful for the analysts and the designers to understand the flow of data within a system and identify the potential bottlenecks or the inefficiency and communicate system requirements to the state. So this is a sample data flow diagrams, guys. Okay. So this data flow diagram will mainly helpful for the like, the designers and system analysts in order to understand how the data is flowing inside the system, the inflow and the outflow of data, and how the data is being processed within the system. That we can depict it through this data flow diagram. This is a sample data flow diagram. So we have here search item, registration, login. Okay, we have different levels of the data flow diagram, right? Guys, if you look, like, into multiple sources and all. So the basic data flow diagram is enough. So with respect to online agricultural products too, you need to draw this data flow diagram. So whatever the questions I'm telling you right now, so you need to prepare it as per your Capstone one case study, which is related to the online agriculture products. Okay. Then next question is, how should a BA handle a change request? So what is a change request? A change request is a formal proposal to alter a system, product, or a project. Suppose we have gathered all the requirements for a project, but in meanwhile, there may be a request like, in order to change the request which you have already given. So in order to do some modifications regarding some requirement, in order to alter a system, there will be some request in between while working on your project and all. There might be change requests which might happen. You have all the requirements prior. You have started working on a project. In between, what happens? The client might request some change regarding some new, like, some change request regarding your particular feature. At that time, that is nothing but your change request. It is a formal proposal to alter your system. We are modifying the things over here. Okay. Then, so before handling a change request, what needs to be done, what BA needs to do is, you need to understand the scope of the change request and document the change request. So when the change request is comes, you need to understand the scope and you need to document. Okay. And you need to conduct an impact analysis like project scope, schedule, budget, resources, and this. So you need to check whatever the change request we have got. Is it within the scope of our project or not? Can we do this change request? Can we implement this before the schedule within our schedule? So can we implement this change request within our budget? So are our resources enough in order to work on this or particular change request in order to complete the particular change request? And what risk might be involved if you implement this change request? You need to conduct such impact analysis. Guys. Okay. Then afterwards, you need to prioritize this change request based on its urgency, importance, impact on projects. So there might be some change requests which might have, which you can do it later also, but there might be some change requests which you need to do immediately. So according to that, you need to prioritize your change request based on its urgency and importance and its impact on the project. And that needs to be prioritized first and that needs to be delivered first. So you need to give priority and then you need to start. Then priority. Okay, then afterwards. So before implementing the change request, the important thing that you need to do is you need to take approval from the project sponsor for the change request, guys. Okay. So once they have approved regarding this change request, they will look into the document. So they will look into this all the things which are documented regarding the change request regarding these things and all. So if it is like if it is okay, then they will provide an approval for you regarding the change request. After that, you can start developing that particular change request. Before that, you need to communicate this change request to all the stakeholders, including the project team. And then the project team will be start working on this particular change request. This is how we can, what is a change request and how would you handle a change request. Okay. Then. So here we have the question number 9 is regarding currently the team is working on selling clothes and accessories through this application. So the designers can add the new designs in these applications. However, currently the client has asked it to add features like auctions, call the giveaways. As a BA, when you come across such request, what should you do? Is this a change request or enhancement? So what is a change request means like so whatever the current process is been going on, so to the existing one you are doing some enhancements and all. Okay. And sorry, to the existing one, you're altering something, you're changing something, you're modifying something. So what is an enhancement to the already existing application? You're adding a new features. You're creating something which can provide more value to the existing applications. That is nothing but your enhancement. If you look into this particular question, so what can you assume? Is this a change request or enhancement? There is already an application. Then they want to have a new features like auction and holiday giveaways, which is nothing but through this existing. We are trying to add new features so that it can add value to the existing application, right? So this is an enhancement. Okay. So in this case, likewise, you need to look into the question which is there in your prep-1 part 3, and you need to assume is this a change request or enhancement, and you need to give your explanation. Okay. So in this case, adding auction and holiday giveaways to the application would be considered as an enhancement as it involves adding new features to the system. Okay. As a business analyst, you should document the requirement and work with the development team to determine the feasibility and impact of the new features. It's not like they have requested for new features and you directly implement it. So before that, you need to check if it is feasible or not and what type of impact that these features can create regarding this particular features if they are implemented in the project. Okay. So you need to conduct such feasibility study and impact analysis also over here. And you should also consider what type of benefits we can get by implementing, by enhancing or adding a new feature. So what type of benefits we can get, what are the risks that might be involved, and cost. What is the cost required in order to develop those new features and all, and the enhancements. So before making any recommendations to the client, all these needs to be considered. Then only these enhancements needs to be happen. So that's the difference between change request or enhancement. Whatever is the change request? So whatever the requirements that are there over there, while we are developing a project, in between you might get some change request from the client. So you need to modify. There might be changes that you need to modify something and all. Okay. And enhancement is something to the existing thing. We are adding some new things so that it can add value to the particular function. That is nothing into your enhancement. Okay. Then question number 10 is like, how many man hours are required for this project? Come up with a number and justify your analysis. So what are the man hours means? So how many hours which are taken by the resources, uh, in order to develop a particular project, how much time they have worked in order to complete that project, that are nothing but your man hours. So the man hours are the required efforts of the resources to complete a project. There are three types of projects. Suppose they are given a sample over here, small project might take up to 500 hours to complete. Medium project might take up to 1,000 hours to complete, and large project can take up to 15 hours to complete. So according to online agriculture products, so we need to issue which category of project it might come on. Okay. And analysis, right? As per the case study, the duration of the project is 18 months. So with respect to online agricultural products too, you need to look into the duration and the whatever the current team size is there, how many people are there, you need to write about that number. And this we will consider that this would come under this medium project. So as the train resources are available, trainers are not required. So we are so here whatever this particular case study is there. So whatever the resources are there, all are trained. So we don't require any trainers. So you need to look into the online agriculture product store and you need to assume, you need to consider what how many months they are having, how many, what is the team size, are the trained people are there, or new trainers are required and all you need to consider. As the structure of the project is available, new and enhanced infrastructure is not. Okay. So likewise, according to the case study, you need to make some analysis and you need to provide your estimation. Suppose there are 15 people. Okay. So these 15 people, let us consider one. So the business analyst is working for 8 hours per day. So regarding 8 hours, how many dollars, 8 hours per day into how many um days he have worked in the particular project. You need to multiply, BA is working for, 8 hours into, we have worked for around 50 days. So into 50. So based on that only we'll be giving that, particular payment and all. These many man hours that the B has worked, these many man hours that the developer has worked. Based on this, we need to provide some estimations. Okay. This is all about how you write this question. Okay. Next, explain about UAT process. So, what is an UAT? So, UAT is a client-side testing. So, user acceptance testing. This is a testing from the user perspective. Okay. So, in this UAT process, we have 5 steps, guys. Look, like we plan it, we design it, and the UAT testing, bug fixing, and sign. So, in this planning, what we do is we prepare a blueprint in order to implement this UAT testing. So, for every feature. So whatever the features that are being developed for this particular project, so we have a user acceptance testing for every feature. So that needs to be tested and minimum standards for accepting this test. Afterwards, we design the test cases over here. So all the possibilities, to hide all the possibilities of the software packages in the real world environment. Okay. Then UAT testing. So testers will be involved over here. A testing team will be there consisting of the end users of the application, so that meet the criteria for implementing test. So, but also they need to know how these test cases needs to be run and understand the functionalities. They will start testing the functionalities, whatever the features or the functionalities they have developed regarding that particular application. These people will be testing those features. Okay. Then, if there are any bugs, so whatever the bugs we have found in the UAT testing, then these bugs are identified and these bugs needs to be fixed by the development team. The development team will start start looking into these works and they will be start working on them so that whatever the application or the software that you have developed, it should run error-free. Okay. Then after that, once all the bugs are fixed regarding this particular application and all, you would take a sign. So after removing all the bugs, the testing team indicates that acceptance of the completion of the bugs. So all the stakeholders come to a conclusion that the software is ready to go live so that we can sign. So once every application, this application is error free, so we will take a final approval and this can be moved to the, it could be ready to go live. We can start using this, it can be deployed. Okay. This is about your UAT process. Mention what is a UAT process and write about all the phases regarding the UAT process. Okay. So whatever the answers you are writing, write it as per the case study which was given regarding online agriculture products. So what I have done regarding the UAT process. Okay, assume and give your answers. Okay. Next, the question call is regarding what is a project closure document and what points should be included in it. So, a project closure document is also called as a project closure report. So, it is a formal document that summarizes the key outcomes, lessons learned, and the final details of completed project. So, once your project is being completed, once everything is done in your project, then we have this project closure document. So in this document, we include certain details like, so what are the outcome, what is the outcome of your project? What lessons you have learned in this project and what challenges you have faced. Likewise, we need to mention the final details of a completed project. Yes. So this serves as a comprehensive record of the what accomplishments, what we have achieved regarding this particular project, challenges, what is the overall performance of the project. So what will be providing the value, this this project serves as giving the valuable insights for the stakeholders and for the future projects also. So this type of details could be included in your project closure document, like, project overview, what achievements you have got, lessons learned, quality assurance, resource utilization, risk management, and the challenges. So this is one of the format of the project closure document. So mention what is a project closure document and likewise, you can mention the format first. Okay. So here you can see the points to be included, like, did the client sign off on the UAT testing regarding the UAT testing sign off and all details we have given over here, the date of sign off, who have given the name of the resource and all. Okay. Then we have given also the reference link to the particular documents also. Okay. Then the objective of the project, user friendly, customer satisfaction, and more categories. So what are the functionalities that you have worked on? Secure payment processing categories, infrastructure that you have used, the funding amount, and overall project information, value to the company. Likewise, we will be providing the final details with respect to the particular project. So this is all about how you can write the project version document. So with these questions, your prep one part three is completed. Yes? So you will be completing in the entire prep one with this once you have completed this part three. Okay. So if you're having any doubts, you can put it in the chat box. I'll be looking into it and answering them.